Welcome back everyone to another episode of Swing Shift Trades. Just a recap, my name's Matt. I've been trading for over 4.5 years, coming from a background of very little knowledge up to being a profitable trader. So this channel is really aimed at beginners, but also those who are a bit more experienced, who want to find out a bit more and to compress that learning time to give us all the best shot of being a profitable trader as soon as possible. Well, what a couple of weeks this has been for the market. The world's in a bit of turmoil. I think for all short-term traders, day traders, swing traders like me, it's really had an impact on how we trade. So today what I want to go through is really how that's impacted my trading and some of the things we can do to try and mitigate that. I think it's safe to say at this precise moment it's a pretty bear market. And this has affected me in particular because I tend to trade long for different reasons. So in this video, I think I'm going to go through my watch list, show you the stocks that I picked out initially of being very likely for me to take or show a great interest in. And then I'm going to go through those and give you my thoughts about why I might hold off or why I might take them. So when the market's this unpredictable, then of course it makes life as a swing trader even more challenging. But the basic tenets don't change, and that is there's always two things you can control. That's when to get in and when to get out, and that never changes. So in this video, what I'd like to do really is go through the process again of how I screen some stocks, and I've made a watch list of those stocks that I'm interested. And I'm going to go through some of those stocks and just mention why I might take them and why not, especially in the context of this unpredictable market. Okay, so let's hop over to the chart. So anyone who follows this channel knows that this is my basic chart setup. So I have my super chart here, and I use two indicators really. That's the MACD and the RSI. So anyone who wants to know a bit more about these, I've gone through these in one of my previous videos. So what we've got at the moment is over to the right here is my watch list. So I've previously screened the stocks. Again, I've gone through how to do that. I'll probably do it again in the next video actually. But here I've got the stocks that I'm interested in at the moment at the time of speaking. So let's go through some of these. So I'm a swing trader. So here I'm looking for these oscillations up and down. And what I'm hoping to do is catch the price action at the bottom before it starts going up again. And to do that, to help identify, I use a support and resistance strategy. So that's when the price action starts to come down here. So I found this in a stock, and there seems to be a past area of support here. So some would say it might well bounce here and go up, and hence I'm a long trader. So I trade on a long position going up. So to help me make that decision, I use MACD and RSI, simple momentum indicators that help me choose the moment to get in. So just a recap here, I really look for those stocks that have this long, nice, smooth swing downwards, hoping to catch the uptrend. So here are some examples here. So let's go through them. On the first one here, RRGB abbreviation over here. So let's open this chart. I'll close down the indicators. Why did I choose this stock? Well, look at this. If I zoom out, there's been quite a long history of oscillations here. But I'm working on the 4-hour chart here, and there has been a previous area of support here. So this stock has already been on the decline for a long time, and you can see it's smoothed off here, and one would think that it might hit this area of support and then come back to the long. And what I do there at this point is I use my primary indicator, which is MACD, and my particular basis for timing an entry is to wait for the first dark green histogram on the MACD. So the reason I do that is it gives you a bit more confidence that the momentum is going to shift to the up. So that's what I use as my primary indicator. Now, as you can see here, the issue is, as with any indicator, they are not perfect. So even though this has happened on this MACD diagram here, histogram, you can see there was a green, but it's continued to drop. So that's where experience comes in, is you look at this and you think, is it time? Should I do it? And this overall answer at the moment is a no. Even after the first dark green point of the histogram here, so we've got one bar that's green, and the next, and the next, it did continue to go down. Now, this is important. This precisely shows why you shouldn't rely solely on indicators. You should always take into account the price action. So the reason I wouldn't take this trade at the moment, at this stage, is because this indicator is in contrast to the price action. So I would drop this, or I would at least wait for a more positive response to this going up. So at the moment, this would be on hold. So let's move down to the next one. Here again, if I close down my indicators and go up, we've got these nice oscillations going up and down and up and down. So what we're always trying to do, of course, is get it at the bottom before the price action starts going up. Now, broadly, there does seem to be an area here of support. So you can see it never really seems recently, this is going back to November, it never goes past this point. So let's bring back up those indicators. It's been going up. So normally I would wait just for the first green histogram before entering. And if I'd done that, I'd probably have broken even around about there because it still seems to have ranged. Well, and that is the other inadequacy of MACD. It's not very good in a ranging environment. So again, this is another example of when experience really counts over indicators. So never rely solely on indicators. They're there to complement your decision. So this does look like it might go long. This MACD is also telling me that the momentum might slightly be on the upward trend, but it's not definitive here for me. There is a possibility that this is going to continue ranging. The RSA, another momentum indicator, does indicate that there might be an upward trend. So on this, I would move this over the previous. So I keep these in order. If I come over to my watch list, the order of preference that I'm in. And you can see with the day's trading, it's up slightly as well. So I will move that up the list. So let's go on to the next one, RPID here. So again, we seem to have this very broad area of support here. So one way of thinking would be it's going to drop and then do a U-turn and come back up. So the price action would come up. But there's a couple of things that bother me about this chart. This has been a very sharp decline. I'm really looking for this slower momentum over time. When the drop is this quickly, usually it's due to some news event or other event that's really had a big impact straight away. So you should be cautious. I would always check the news as well with a news icon. This one says strong revenue growth. So this is a pretty vague piece of news for this stock. So I won't be taking much from that. But the momentum here is quite severe. So I would keep this, but use with caution. So if I bring up my MACD line again, this is probably pretty much on track with what I would think is a good stock. At the moment, we're still on a downward momentum. So I would keep my eye open here and wait for these momentum lines to cross and hit the first histogram, and then I'd make another decision there. Right, moving to the next one. What have we got there? ULCC. Let's have a look here. So again, we've got this broad area of support here. So one might expect again that it might bounce here and go long. What's my MACD saying? It's on the downward trend here. So not yet ready. I'm waiting for this green histogram before I would consider rating. So this would be a wait. I would keep this where it is on my list of trades. So Now we've got some kind of order. What we have is structure in our shares that we picked. And this helps us really make those decisions. So on all of these now, I am comfortable where they rank. But we are only halfway there. Screening the stocks is just half the decision. So what I would always do before I take any trades is I would go across, I'd open this new tab and look at the heat map. So look at this. This is the heat map. Now, there is a lot of turmoil going on at the moment. We're all aware of that. So anyone who watches this regularly knows that I trade the smaller cap stocks. That's from $2 to $6. This just gives an overview of the S&P 500. So it gives you a flavor of how the market's doing. There's a lot of red or neutral stocks at the moment. The market hasn't actually opened yet, so this is in the pre-trading hours, but you can see there's a lot of red here. So I would be very cautious about my trading. But what you can do is look at individual sectors. For example, electronics. Yeah, there's a few greens, but there's a lot of stocks that are going down. So in summary, based on that alone, the heat map alone, I would be very cautious about trading today. So let's hop back to the super charts and have another look. Will I be trading today? So let's have one more run through. This one, the momentum does seem to be going up, so I might place a trade on this one. It's already green. For RRGB, not yet. Again, this is where experience has come in. I would wait for evidence of momentum in this histogram before I considered a trade here. For RPID, this is a waiting game for this one. I won't rule this one out, but again, when it hits the criteria, if the histogram goes green, there's a crossover in the momentum indicators, then I might consider it if it aligns with the price action. And finally, with ULCC, again, this is a waiting game. I would want to wait for the price action to move. This is the weakest one, in my opinion. There seems to be quite a number of false breakouts that have happened here. So this one I'm a bit more suspicious of. So I would actually take this off my watch list. And just as a final recap, I would always go back when the market opens to the stock heat map just to have a look. If this is a sea of red, I probably won't trade for the day. When the market opens, I'll be there, I'll have a look. I'm not a big fan of losing money, but what I will do if there's a good distribution of green, then I will be a little bit more reassured that I could rely on my stocks that I've picked on my watch list. So in my opinion, it is just my personal opinion, is always do check the general state of the market before you decide to trade that day. So I hope those couple of pointers were useful for you, particularly in trading in these unpredictable times. But that is the cycle of the market as well. There are bull markets and bear markets, so you can adapt, or you should be able to adapt as a trader to whatever the environment is. Some of the eagle-eyed amongst you might see that on my watch list I've got these different coloured tabs here. I've got the orange and the purple. The purple ones I always keep are the trades I've already taken for that week. So, or in the recent past. And I colour them purple because I like going back and reviewing them. So I'll do a bit more about that in a future video. So one of the important things is to always try and review your past trades. So that is the only way you can improve over time. So I think in one of the future videos that I'll do, I'll just go through how I review my past trades and how that might affect my trading in the future. But it's important to keep you ahead of the game. So I hope that gave a few pointers about trading in uncertain times. In the next video, I think I'll go through some of these trades and let you know which ones I actually took and how they're doing. And I might also go into a bit more depth about how to review your old trades so that you can make improvements on your future trading. So as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos, and do watch out for the next Swing Shift Trades video. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's a great motivation to carry on doing these videos, which I hope are helpful to you. So thanks again for watching and see you in the next one. Bye for now.